What I love about ALF is it is a network around the state of Oregon of deeply invested leaders, an agreed safety zone, in the sense that there might be challenges in my community or challenges in my organization. And I feel like I can bring those here, and there isn't that judgment and there isn't that, let me try to problem solve this, but it's really just pure listening.
You know, I've been an executive leader for some time, and sometimes you miss this ability to be vulnerable, to be fearful, to be hurt, this judgment-free, safe zone. I don't know how I would have gotten through that without this community of support during that time.
So I really felt that ALF helped inform me about different perspectives.
So it is a phenomenal way to connect. I mean, the mission of the organization is joining and strengthening diverse leaders to serve the common good.
The opportunity to meet people I wouldn't otherwise meet or get to spend time with.
And then when it was my turn to, you know, how you're facing down the cliff and you're going down this cliff on this rope, I was scared to death. And I was hanging on to the rope, and the people who had my rope, I just looked at them and said, oh my God, I'm so scared, as I started to go down. And he just said very calmly, of course you are. You know, you should be scared right now. And that's all he said. And I was like, okay, you know, and then I just went. And then there was a photograph, this look on my face, and I'm going over, you know, starting to go down the cliff. And I had that photo, I printed it, and I had it on my desk forever, that I would look at, especially during challenging times, that feeling of all these people around you who were supportive, and they wanted you to take on a challenge because they knew you could do it.
I just found it very useful in trying to reduce, limit as many of the biases that I carried with me growing up primarily in an urban area, and keeping an open mind to listen to the views and perspectives of those in the rural parts of the state.
We did this activity where we addressed privilege. There were two people behind me, and there was one person at the same plane as me, who turned out to be the classmate who introduced himself to me and just, you know, said basically ideologically we were so different. What we learned about each other was that regardless of who we vote for, where we grew up, we both did the same thing.
I thought it would be a really great idea to have our group come to a youth correctional facility and actually work alongside our direct care staff and meet our kids, really get to meet those young people and see that they are really no different than any other kid. Those visits helped change the dialogue around juvenile justice and around some policies in Oregon that were racist.
They walked all of us up North Mississippi Avenue. I was literally brought to my knees of seeing the connection between my urban Black classmates and that community mirrored in the influence of power used via racism and economic tools to influence and change that community, mirrored what I feel and see in my rural, white Douglas County community.
How you rely on your class or you rely on the network, those people taught me about the state of Oregon, as well as a good many other things.
For a while there, I thought that only Latinos were the only people supporting Latinos. But when I started in my class and then met other folks again like Tom, who I know really well, I noticed that this wasn't just our fight or our mission, or it wasn't only Latino that wanted the best for our Latino community. It was all of you and a lot of you for all communities. I bought BIPOC communities, but that was a really good eye-opening thought for me, because at one time I thought it was a us versus them kind of issue.
Because I think those harder conversations, if you're doing them effectively, I won't say right, but if you're doing them effectively, no, they're gonna, I mean, they got harder for me to have, but it certainly gets more impactful. And I think as an ALF Senior Fellow, the whole point is to be impactful. And that's what I got out of it.
It helped train me to take the role I've taken in my community, and has helped me, I think, kind of move a fairly conservative little town in the Willamette Valley forward down the road. Where we wind up, I don't know.
My class was incredibly diverse. 40% of folks were folks of color, 20% were LGBTQ, 20% came from outside the Portland metro area. We brought many, many different lived experiences in ways that have helped me lead Oregon Food Bank from being a service organization to being a social justice organization.
Hearing about Indigenous people's journeys, Black people's journeys, and understanding what that meant for their lives. So I have taken that into the organization I lead, and we have continued to dive into that and make sure that we stand in authentic solidarity with Black and Indigenous and BIPOC leaders.
But they really restored my faith in society, I have to say, because I was pretty disenchanted when I started. So I think those kind of experiences are so critical for people with a limited universe in which they operate. You know, we all think, you know, birds of a feather clump together, and we just don't have a chance to see the world from different points of view. And even though I've been a diversity trainer for years, it just never ceases to amaze me at the human capacity for change. So I think that's, you know, one of the takeaways is that, you know, leadership programs which expose us to people who are not like us, you know, can be life-changing.